My name is Claire Linton. I was 34 when my father died. The others showed up for the funeral. Suits a size too tight, tears a shade too staged. My brother Jason cried once, for the photographer. My sister Marla gave a eulogy that sounded like she was auditioning for a podcast. She said things like, "He believed in legacy," and "He taught us what loyalty meant." I didn't speak. I had nothing left to say to people who showed up for his death but never for his life. They let me sit up front because it would have looked bad not to. I wasn't included in the family procession, though. That was Marla's call. "You've been close, but not immediate," she said. I was the one who bathed him, fed him, changed his clothes when the nurses missed a shift. I sat beside him for the last 13 nights of his life and listened to his breath turn hollow. He didn't speak much at the end, but the last word I heard him say was my name. "Claire," he said, software final, like a closing book. That was 2 days before he passed. He never opened his eyes again. We didn't have a reading of the will right away. Marla insisted on time to grieve. Jason said the lawyer was sorting out final paperwork. Meanwhile, they started organizing the house, packing things, donating what didn't sparkle on camera, deciding which photos to keep and which memories to discard. "Can you help sort the study?" Marla asked me one afternoon. "You were always the neat one." I said nothing. "Dad kept everything," Jason added. "It's a little chaotic in there." I nodded. Not because I agreed, but because it wasn't worth fighting yet. They let me stay in the house during the cleanup, not out of kindness, out of convenience. "I figured you'd want to be close to him," Marla said. "One last time." One last time. I'd been close to him the whole time. They were the ones coming back for the performance. I slept on the couch. The guest bed had already been sold on Facebook Marketplace. Jason listed it the night after the funeral. I saw it go up online. Lightly used, must pick up, with a photo that still showed my father's old slippers at the edge of the frame. He hadn't even removed them. I packed the study by myself. Dust-coated manila folders, warranty papers for appliances we no longer owned, clipped newspaper articles. It smelled like old books and slow goodbyes. I found one box marked Journals, Claire. Inside were notebooks from when I was younger, my handwriting at 13. At 16, one entry had the phrase, "Dad's breathing sounds like it's drowning." I'd written that during his second hospital stint. The box was half empty. Several journals were missing. I asked Marla about it. "Oh," she said, "I let a friend borrow them. She's a writer. She was fascinated by your voice. Raw, unfiltered." "You gave my journals away?" "She won't publish anything," Marla said quickly. "It's more like inspiration, you know?" She smiled like I should be honored. I didn't smile back. That night, I stood in the hallway and listened as Jason and Marla argued in the kitchen over the listing price of the house. "We should stage it properly," Marla said. "Soft lighting, minimalist, people love the modern heritage look." "It's still legally ours, right?" Jason asked. "Of course," Marla said. "The will's filed. Claire's not even mentioned." My spine stiffened. Not mentioned. They held the will meeting 2 days later. I wasn't invited. The lawyer called me afterward. His voice was low, cautious. "I'm sorry, Claire," he said. "The version they filed excludes you entirely. The estate, the house, the assets, all to Jason and Marla." I said nothing. "There's no reference to you in the amended version," he added. "It appears to have been signed during your father's final hospitalization. There's a hospital signature, but..." "But what?" He paused. "Your father was sedated for much of that week. It's legally viable, but..." "Strange?" I hung up. Then I walked back into the study and opened the attic door. The steps creaked, loud and deliberate. No one followed me. I hadn't been up there in years. It smelled like insulation and old wood and something damp. My fingers trailed along the wall until I found the panel behind the air vent. My father had shown it to me once, years ago, when I was 10. "Emergency files," he'd said. "Just in case no one listens to you." Inside was a briefcase, locked. The key was in a hollowed-out flashlight in the garage. I remembered. He'd told me, "Hide what matters where no one looks for power." I opened the case. Inside, a copy of the will dated 2 years earlier, a USB drive, a sealed envelope, a post-it note with my name, just one word. "Only if they forget you." They had. I didn't. The briefcase was covered in dust, but the contents weren't. The will was dated 2 years before my father died. It left everything to me. No legal jargon, no ambiguity, just one line near the top. "I leave my home, assets, and belongings to my daughter, Claire Linton, who stood by me when no one else did." It wasn't just a will. It was a confession. He knew what they'd try. The USB drive inside played instantly. No password. It was a simple video. My father in his favorite chair, blanket across his knees. "Claire, if you're seeing this, something went wrong." His voice was weak, but his eyes were sharp. "I filed a clean version of the will. If Marla or Jason try anything, don't argue. Just use what's in this case." He paused. "They never came back, but you never left." That was all. There was also a sealed envelope, just a signed, notarized copy of the will. Witnessed by 2 people I knew, his former accountant and our old neighbor. It was valid, legal, and never filed, because they replaced it with one signed while he was barely conscious. I contacted a new attorney, one who didn't know my family. "I need to submit an earlier will," I said. "It's clean and legal." She reviewed it and nodded. "Once it's filed, you're the owner. Full control." "Good," I said. "I don't want to notify anyone." The next morning, I walked the halls differently. I opened drawers they told me were already packed. I took my time in the rooms they'd rushed through. Jason was on the phone in the living room. "We're getting great offers. I think we can close in 2 weeks." He hadn't even listed the house yet. They were selling something that didn't belong to them. That night, I removed the "for sale" sign from the lawn, not dramatically. Just picked it up and leaned it against the trash bins. Jason noticed the next morning. "Did the wind knock that down?" "No," I said. "I did." He laughed. "Why?" "It doesn't belong there." He stared at me but said nothing. The county clerk processed the filing the next day. I was now the legal owner of 218 Hemlock Avenue. No disputes, no noise, just fact. Marla texted later that afternoon. "Can you be here Thursday when the stagers come? You know where everything is." I replied, "Sure." Thursday came. I let the stagers in, watched them fake the perfect home. When they left, I opened the fridge and poured out half the milk. Just because I could. Jason walked in later and smiled. "Looks great, right?" "Depends who you're staging it for." "Buyers," he said. I handed him a plain envelope. Inside, the eviction notice, 30 days to vacate, no appeal, filed, signed, final. He skimmed it. "What is this?" "Transfer of ownership," I said. "Filed under the valid will, the only valid one. That will was replaced. Number yours was forged." Marla arrived minutes later. "You can't do this." "I already did." They stammered, offered to renegotiate, said we could work things out. I let them talk. Then I said, "He told me what he wanted. You buried it." "I just dug it back up." Jason tried anger. "You let us believe." "You lied," I said. "I let you." They asked what I'd do with the house. I didn't answer. Let them wonder. Let them pack. Let them feel what it's like to lose something they never earned. 3 weeks after Jason and Marla left, I received an envelope. No stamp, no return address, just slid under the door like a warning. Inside was a typed letter. Anonymous, but I recognized the phrasing. It was Jason's voice, just filtered through someone else's keyboard. Claire, you've made your point, but this house was never just yours. Dad may have changed his mind toward the end. You were around. You helped him. Sure. But you also kept him away from the rest of us. I think it's only fair we divide what's left. Furniture, jewelry, keepsakes. Let's meet and sort it out like adults. We're family. Let's not make this worse than it needs to be. It wasn't a peace offering. It was a trap. They weren't coming for keepsakes. They were coming for control. Still, I said yes. 1 meeting, 1 time. They chose the day. A Sunday. Noon. I chose the room. The study. It was where the original will had been signed. I made copies of every important document and locked the originals in a fireproof drawer. I also placed a small recorder in the drawer of the desk, just in case. I wasn't expecting anything cinematic, no outbursts or screaming matches, but I wanted a record of what was said and what they thought they could get away with. Jason arrived first. He wore a crisp shirt like it was a business deal. Marla followed 10 minutes later, already rolling her eyes. Still playing house? She said, looking around. Cute. I didn't answer. They sat down across from me at the study table. No lawyers, no witnesses, just old blood pretending to be civil. Jason started. Let's keep this simple. No drama. We just want what's fair. Then you want nothing, I said. He smirked. Claire, come on. You don't even want all this stuff. You live in an apartment the size of this hallway. I live where I'm respected. Marla leaned forward. You can't honestly think Dad wanted you to have everything. We were his kids, too. You were strangers who showed up when it was convenient. I was the one feeding him soup and walking him to the bathroom. Because you stayed local, she snapped. That was your choice. And abandoning him was yours. Jason raised his hands like a mediator. Fine, you win the sentimentality contest, but legally, you know this could go sideways if we bring in the right team. You already tried, I said. Your will got voided, mine didn't. He paused, the bluff crumbling. Marla reached into her bag and slid a folder across the table. We had him sign a power of attorney, months before he died. I opened the folder, looked at the form, basic language, 1 page, dated 2 weeks after he was hospitalized. He was medicated, I said. This won't hold. It's enough to raise questions, Jason replied. Enough to slow you down. I closed the folder. You're bluffing with a blank gun. It makes noise, but it won't kill anything. Marla stood. Enjoy your lonely little kingdom, Claire. Jason followed, but before he left, he turned and said one last thing. You should check the basement. There's more in this house than you think. Then he left. I waited until nightfall. Then I checked the basement. At first, it was the usual stuff. Boxes of tax returns, winter coats, broken tools. But then I saw the old metal filing cabinet my father never let anyone touch. I used the same key from the drawer upstairs. It worked. Inside, a ledger with years of scribbled entries, a folder labeled Caregiver Compensation Plan, and a sealed envelope that said, in my father's handwriting, "Do not let them take this from her." Inside the envelope was a letter addressed to his attorney. If anything happens to me, Claire is to receive the full proceeds of my insurance policy and all remaining cash assets. She made my final years livable. The others made them lonely. Attached was a signed beneficiary change form. It was dated 2 days before his final hospital admission. The same week, Marla and Jason were vacationing in Greece. They thought they'd backed me into a corner with a flimsy signature and a smirk. But they hadn't counted on my father being thorough. He didn't just protect the house. He protected me. I didn't respond to Jason and Marla's threats. I didn't have to. The insurance documents were clean. Valid signature. Witnessed. Dated. Logged. I sent them in with one sentence: "Please update the beneficiary as filed." 3 days later, Alexis from the insurance office called. "It's confirmed," she said. "You're listed as sole beneficiary. Payout will be $340,000. I thanked her, didn't celebrate, just noted the number. They wouldn't hear about it from me. They'd hear from the bank when their attempt to freeze the account failed. A man in a windbreaker knocked 2 days later, said he was an appraiser. "Jason sent you?" I asked. No answer, just silence. "You can walk through," I told him, "but the house isn't for sale." That night, Jason emailed. Subject line: family mediation proposal. He wanted to preserve family ties and discuss equity split. Marla was CC'd. So was a lawyer. I didn't respond. My lawyer did. "They have no legal claim. You are the sole owner. Ignore." Marla texted, "We're trying to be decent, don't make it ugly." I replied, "You made it ugly when you priced my grief." The next morning, I picked up the payout check in person. I didn't cash it. Not yet. Letting it sit felt more powerful. Then I found another envelope, hidden behind the kitchen paneling. It was addressed to my mother. "You left once. Don't pretend now. Claire earned everything in this house." Underneath was a note: "Inheritance isn't blood, it's who shows up." I scanned it, sent it to Jason and Marla, captioned it simply, "You never showed up." Then I attached a photo of the $340,000 check. Jason called that night. I didn't pick up. His voicemail said, "It was Mom's idea. She said you'd waste the money. We were trying to protect what was left." No apology, just blame shifting. I saved the message, named the file, "False Justification, Voicemail 1." They thought I'd fold, but I was just getting started. A week passed in silence. No emails, no texts, not even a knock. It was the kind of calm you don't trust. Then she showed up. My mother, hair pinned, purse clutched, smile like nothing had ever happened. "Claire," she said, like she'd just dropped by for coffee. "Can we talk?" I didn't invite her in, just stood at the door. "I heard things got complicated," she added, eyes scanning the hall behind me. "Jason said you've been overwhelmed. Maybe I can help." Help? The woman who vanished during hospice? The one who told people I preferred to be alone at the funeral? "I'm fine," I said. Her smile tightened. "It's still the family home, sweetheart. Maybe we should go through some of the old things together." There it was, the script. She didn't care about the photos, the memories, or even the furniture. She wanted leverage, and she thought she could use guilt to get it. "I've already gone through everything," I said. She shifted her tone. "Claire, your father and I built this life together. It's not right for you to keep all of it. You left before the life part ended." She blinked. "That was complicated." Number it wasn't. She took a slow breath. "Look, I don't want this to go to court. It slipped out too fast, too rehearsed." "Court?" I asked. "I thought you just wanted to go through some old things." She didn't answer. That was answer enough. The next day, I received a formal letter from a different lawyer. Not Jason's. "Heron, we are requesting a mediation on behalf of Ms. Evelyn Linton to discuss joint ownership of the estate at 218 Hemlock Avenue. Our client claims informal contribution to the property over a 30-year marriage and requests an amicable settlement. Amicable. That word again. I forwarded it to my lawyer. She called 5 minutes later. She has no standing. The divorce settlement waived all property rights. This is just pressure. Let it sit, I told her. No response yet. I wanted them to move first. They did. Marla posted online, one of those vague sympathy posts. Some people forget what family means once money's involved. It got over 100 likes, dozens of comments, all pity. She always knew how to stage a scene, so I staged one back. I posted a photo of my father, not young, not smiling, just him, thin, tired, in his chair. Captioned, "He chose me when it counted." Nothing else. People remembered. Neighbors commented. Old co-workers sent messages. They knew who stayed and who didn't. The next day, a moving van parked across the street. Jason had rented a place nearby. Watching. Waiting. He wasn't finished, but neither was I. That evening I returned to the safe, opened the last envelope I hadn't touched. Inside were receipts, dozens of them. Every grocery run, every pharmacy trip, every hospital bill I paid out of pocket during Dad's decline, over $28,000 worth, all signed. He'd kept it all. Handwritten note on top. She gave. They took. If anyone questions this, tell them to add it up. I did. Then I emailed my mother's lawyer, attached the receipts, with one line, "If she wants a claim, tell her to settle the debt first." They went quiet again. But I wasn't finished. 3 weeks of silence. No letters, no threats, no drive-bys. That's how I knew they were building something, not a case, a narrative. They weren't fighting me in court. They were trying to win outside it. Friends, neighbors, online sympathizers, whisper campaigns in church parking lots, pity dinners, subtle hints that I'd taken advantage of an old man too weak to think for himself. It wasn't legal strategy, it was social shaming. And it worked for a while, until I flipped it. I started documenting everything, date-stamped photos of the house, voicemails, texts, medical receipts, even the old insurance calls. I kept logs, call times, agent names, nothing complicated, no legalese, just proof. Proof that I had been there, and they hadn't. Proof that I cared. And they couldn't spell the word without choking on it. Then came the envelope I'd been waiting for. A cease and desist. From a local law firm representing Evelyn Linton, my mother. It accused me of public defamation, emotional distress, harassment by implication. They claimed my photo post of Dad had malicious intent and had cost Evelyn reputational harm. They asked for $25,000 in damages and a written apology. I laughed, then forwarded it to my lawyer, who responded with one sentence. "Tell them we're filing a countersuit." Our claim was simple: unpaid caregiving compensation based on recorded, itemized support and medical assistance over 5 years, backed by receipts and Dad's own written notes. Total, $112,700. The evidence was overwhelming, especially the quote Dad had handwritten under one of the pharmacy receipts. "You won't be forgotten for this, I promise." I posted that one too. With context, didn't tag anyone, didn't accuse anyone, but it spread. People remembered. Quietly. The sympathy shifted. I wasn't just the bitter daughter. I was the one who stayed when it was hard. Jason called again. This time, he didn't leave a voicemail. Just rang twice, then stopped. Then Marla emailed. "I think we all got carried away. Let's talk. No lawyers, just family." Too late for family. I didn't reply. I saved everything. Every communication they tried to take back. The sympathy posts, the veiled threats, the sudden offers to make peace. Then I packaged it, sent it as an organized file to my lawyer, labeled it pattern of manipulation, evidence of strategic undermining. 1 week later, Evelyn dropped her suit, quietly, no press, but not without one last move. She sent a handwritten note. "You won't win, Claire. You're alone. You always have been." I burned it, then walked upstairs, poured a glass of wine, and opened the safe. There was one envelope left, unmarked. Inside was a set of keys, old ones, basement, shed, garage, and a post-it from Dad. "Not everything valuable is money." That's when I remembered the old trunk in the garage, the one he said was just old files. I hadn't touched it, it was time. The trunk was heavier than I remembered, covered in dust, the kind that clings to grief. I dragged it into the center of the garage and broke the lock open with a hammer. Inside, 3 file folders, a velvet pouch, and a small fireproof box. Nothing dramatic, nothing labeled. But I knew better than to expect fanfare. Dad didn't raise his voice. He raised walls, quiet ones. The first folder was labeled work records, pension details, life insurance copies, a deed already transferred to my name. He'd done everything legally, everything clean. But beneath it was something better. A notarized letter dated 3 years before his death. "To whom it may concern, Claire Linton is the sole person authorized to make decisions regarding my estate, home, and personal effects. She has provided exclusive caregiving services and full-time emotional support since 2018. My other children, Jason and Marla, have not been involved in my daily life or medical care. This is not written with malice. It is written with clarity." There was no anger in his handwriting, only precision. The second folder held photographs, mostly of me and him, in the garden, at the kitchen table, in hospitals, at the courthouse. One stood out, Dad in a wheelchair. I'm kneeling beside him, holding a signed document. In the background, barely in frame, is Jason, looking away. Dad had framed the moment Jason refused to witness the medical POA proof, visual proof. He documented the betrayal for me. Then I opened the velvet pouch. Inside were 2 gold coins, real ones, minted, and a chain. My grandmother's, I think, not valuable in dollars, but impossible to fake. Attached to the chain was a flash drive. I took it inside, plugged it into my laptop. Only one file inside. A video, time-stamped. Dad's voice, raspy but calm. "If you're watching this, I'm gone, and things got messy." He coughed, took a sip of water. "I know they'll come for the house, the money, maybe even you. But you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You were the only one here." He smiled weakly. "Don't let their silence gaslight you. You remember who stayed." Then he looked straight into the camera. "Tell them this. I didn't die confused. I died aware." He paused, then added one last thing. "And everything left behind belongs to the one who stayed." I didn't cry. I didn't pause the video. I just copied the file, made 6 backups, uploaded 1 to cloud storage. Then I sent the video to my lawyer. With the subject line, "Final Statement of Intent, Video Confirmation," she replied, "It's game over." But I wasn't finished. I called the real estate agent that Jason had tried to hire to sell the house, told him I was ready, not to sell, to stage, a private showing, one night only. I invited the neighbors, Dad's friends, the hospice nurse, even the mailman, and I displayed everything like an exhibit, the caregiving logs, the will, the receipts, the photos, the video, muted, looping silently on the living room TV. No rage, no explanation, just evidence. Jason showed up halfway through. Marla stayed in the car. He walked through the door like he still owned something, saw the flash drive video, The guests, the papers on the dining table. His face changed. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I met him by the door as he turned to leave. "You left him on Thursday nights," I said. "Every week, that's when I found him crying." Jason didn't reply, didn't have to. Some truths sit louder than any scream. They left, and the house was finally quiet. Not abandoned, not heavy, just mine. The house went quiet after they left, not peaceful, just quiet. I didn't touch a thing for days. The couch still held his shape. The mug was still where he last put it. It all looked paused, like if I waited long enough, time might reverse. It didn't. I opened the windows, let the air change. Then I called the realtor. "I'm not selling," I said, "but I want it listed, just once." "For how long?" "1 week. No intention to sell. I just want them to see it." The listing went live that Friday. Photos, price, open house, a beautiful full walkthrough. By Saturday, Jason texted, "So it was about the money after all." I didn't reply. He texted again. "Just say you wanted to win." I finally responded. I did. Offers came in. One over asking. One with a letter from a young couple expecting their first child. They said the house felt loved. That word stuck with me. I didn't take the offer, but I saved the letter. Because someday I might. I didn't do it to hurt them, but I didn't protect them either. They wanted silence. I gave them proof. They wanted control. I gave them distance. They wanted to win. I left them with regret. Winter hit hard. No slow fade, just gray skies and silence. I kept the house, not for revenge, not for sentiment, but because it was mine, legally, emotionally, all of it. Jason never called again. Marla never apologized. The last thing I sent them was a copy of Dad's note. Inheritance isn't blood. It's who shows up. No response. Didn't expect one. I stayed, repaired the swing, painted the back fence, read in his old chair, wore his windbreaker when the nights got cold. One day I saw them again, the young couple who had written the offer letter, still looking, still hoping. They asked, "Would you ever sell?" I told them the truth. Maybe, but not yet. That night I stood in the hallway, staring at the mirror. I didn't look victorious. I looked finished. They took the money. I took the truth. And that was more permanent.